Hello everyone and welcome back into another GT7 video. PD finally delivered us a combination that we all wanted, but this time it's Laguna Seca Group 3, but if you want to be competitive you need to take the Subaru BRZ. I guess if you really want to, you can take any of the other cars around, but if you want to be competitive, I really do suggest taking the BRZ. But there is a catch. This car is incredibly difficult to drive, and even finishing a race without making a single mistake is extremely difficult. I don't think I've seen a clean race this whole week, and I was in the top split racing one of the best guys in the world. So this is my experience. You can let me know what is your experience with this combination and if you actually enjoyed it. So guys, let's finally have a look at, well, 360 no scopes. So it's finally time to begin with this video, and this is my first race, or my first kind of highlighted race of the week. There wasn't much going on in the first couple of laps of this race, just trying to follow each other, nothing too special. Fourth gear is actually quite useful here. I never thought I was going to be using fourth gear out of that corner, but we didn't have to wait for too long. Lap 5 and Lewis made a little mistake, of course going slightly too wide, just a little mistake, nothing too much. They're going side by side and he loses a place, and now Rosalind is leading the pack. I'm still in P3, nothing changed for me here, but what did change was that I was back in the slipstream and I can finally use the tow to get closer to the guys up ahead. Ooh. Yeah, you never know in this race, you just don't know. Now I was closer, but the difficult part was to stay close to them without losing the slipstream and of course not making a mistake, which was probably the most difficult part. Even if I lose a place or two, it's not really that bad, but just if you spin you lose 5, 6, maybe even 10 seconds, potential damage, potential penalties, and it was not worth it. As you can see, Lewis did a little mistake, nothing too much, and he lost 2/10, just like that. But it was probably nothing compared to this one. Ooh, it's our leader. I almost made the same mistake. Defense, mediums, do not refuel. But probably the most interesting part of this race was the outlap, where we caught up to the driver that hasn't pitted yet. I decided to back out of that move, just try to give him a little bit of space, but unfortunately Algebron went for a move that I just didn't predict. But I had a little look at the replay just to see exactly what happened. The driver up ahead in a Porsche did not change his tires. He had really bad hard tires, while we were on a new set of mediums. I lifted, went to the left, just trying to wait for one more corner, but Algebron had other plans, positioning himself to the right part of the track and diving down the inside, causing contact, of course. But for the next mistake, we didn't have to wait for too long, because he made, well, kind of a bigger mistake in lap 10, which allowed me to regain my P2 just by sending it to the inside and covering down the inside of turn 2 and turn 3. I bet he'll try to do something interesting. Luckily, it was a good defensive move, and I was even able to catch up to Lewis, who was leading this race and got into just about 2 to 3 tenths behind him. So this race turned out to be a pretty positive one, P2, and it was, well, I would say a job well done for me. But second race was even more interesting. I started from the back of the grid because I was really not warmed up to start from the front, and I had a couple of overtakes in the first lap, but it was really interesting to see a couple of Porsche 911s in front of me. Probably not the best choice for this combination because of the tires, but it's the car that you can actually control. And I have to mention, this is still the top split, these are still the top rated players in the game. But this just shows you once again that it's incredibly difficult to control the BRZ. I'm gonna try to avoid someone. Luckily I was able to make that move stick and I was in P9 chasing P8. But there are not that many places on this track where you can actually send it. Turn 1, maybe even turn 2 is probably not the best option, because even taking the outside line means that there is no way that you will get away with it. Maybe on different tires, if someone has worn hards and you have new set of mediums, maybe. But unfortunately, it's not the best corner for overtaking. So I had to wait until he makes a mistake, and potentially something will happen. Because, just as you probably noticed already, it's easy to make a mistake. One more overtake was here, but I didn't have to wait for too long to catch to the group up ahead. So just one lap later and I was just about 2/10 behind P7. And, well, I decided to send it immediately, not to lose any more time than I should. But now I tried to get closer to P6, which is not going to be an easy task. And of course, overtaking, as you probably noticed, it's not easy at all. So, full focus now on trying to catch P6 and eventually go for a move. We'll try to go on the outside. In this situation, I stick to the inside of the corner, because there is almost no way that someone can overtake you on the outside of turn 2 and turn 3. And this allowed me to keep my P6 and start chasing through group in P5 and P4. And it was the final lap of the race. I had to put some pressure on, and just to see if I can maybe even get one more place. Instead of a clean overtake, it was a mistake from the driver in P5, now in P6. I didn't want it to go down that way, but it got me into P5 and I finished this race in P5. So guys, just to show you a little highlight from this whole week, I was in P2, 12 out of 14 laps. The leader was 7.5 seconds ahead, and this is something that I just didn't expect. No! Wait, what? Who is... What is going on today? And this is what was going on. He was pushing to the limit, and unfortunately, he went over the limit, or over the curb, slightly, and spun. And this was that 360 no-scope that I was talking about. It wasn't pretty. He lost 7 seconds out of 7.5 seconds of advantage that he had. just about enough to keep P1. But again, this just shows you how incredibly competitive these lobbies are and how easy it is to make a mistake in them. Still 19.36. He would have done a sub 1930 and he still finished in P1. But also this was one of the interesting moments that I had, just not to show other people's mistakes but also to show one of my mistakes, or actually two of my mistakes. This wasn't 360, this was 720, so it was even better. But what happened next was definitely something that I did not expect, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. Third, and losing it. Third gear, and losing it. I just cannot believe this car. I don't even know how to explain how this car drives, and of course, someone in front of me lost it. And this is how it's been the whole week. Maybe one of the toughest combinations that we've ever had in Group 3. Probably the toughest one. And for the next mistake, or for the next, I'm gonna call it overtake, I didn't have to wait for too long, because the driver in front of me, of course, makes a mistake. And I guess this is probably the winner of this whole week. My personal favorite at least. Probably one of the best spins that I've seen. I'm going to say. You can let me know down in the comments what you think about it. I never thought it was gonna be so good, but just when I had a look at the replay, I was really surprised at what I was looking at. A little mistake, 360, and that's about it. 9.5. Just keep on going. I would rate this 9.5 out of 10. But of course, you can let me know what is your rating for this move. And of course, if you enjoyed this week or you didn't. So please, once again, let me know what you think about this week down below. And yes, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Guys, enjoy Daily Race C, and see you in the next video.